Ladies and gentlemen, every great dream, every towering success begins with a single decision, the decision to push yourself beyond comfort and force yourself into action. The world does not reward wishes. It rewards persistence, discipline, and the courage to act even when you do not feel like it. A goal is not just a wish or a passing desire, it is a command to the mind. When you set a goal with absolute clarity, you give your thoughts direction, your energy a target, and your willpower a reason to rise each day. Imagine a ship without a destination. It drifts with the tide, pulled by winds and currents it cannot control. That is how most people live, hoping life will take them somewhere worthwhile, yet never deciding exactly where they want to go. But the moment you define a clear goal, you seize the wheel of that ship, you chart a course, and you awaken a force within that refuses to be led astray. A definite goal does something remarkable to your mind. It sharpens focus. It filters out distractions. It transforms hesitation into determination, because now every action has a purpose. You stop asking, of should I, and begin saying, I must. The mind works best when it knows what it is working toward. And once it locks on, it begins to attract the ideas, opportunities, and people that move you closer to your destination. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack clarity. They wander from one interest to another half-hearted in every attempt, never committing to one path long enough to see results. But the man or woman with a definite goal is different. They wake up with intention. They see obstacles not as reasons to quit, but as challenges to be overcome in pursuit of their chosen aim. That inner certainty gives them energy when others are weary, and courage when others surrender. If you truly want to force yourself to achieve, begin by demanding from yourself a crystal, clear vision of what you want. Put it in words so simple and direct that there is no room for doubt or confusion. Fix it in your mind so firmly that it becomes as real to you as the air you breathe. When your goal is definite, your actions become powerful, and when your actions are powerful, your success becomes inevitable. Discipline is the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Everyone has dreams. They are free, they come easily, and they often arrive in moments of inspiration. But without discipline, those dreams fade like mist in the morning sun. Discipline is what takes a vision that exists only in your imagination and transforms it into a living reality. It is the daily commitment to act, even when your emotions beg you to quit, even when your body feels tired, and even when your mind invents excuses. There will be days when you feel inspired and unstoppable, but those days are rare. The truth is, most days you will not feel like working. You will not feel like waking up earlier, practicing longer, studying harder, or enduring discomfort. This is where discipline steps in. Motivation whispers, but discipline commands. It does not ask whether you are in the mood. It tells you, do it anyway. It becomes the bridge you walk across every single day, carrying you from where you are to where you want to be. Think of the athlete who trains in the dark while others sleep. The writer who sits at the desk long after the inspiration has run dry. The student who studies when friends are out enjoying themselves. What drives them is not constant excitement, it is discipline. They understand that dreams cannot be built on fleeting feelings. Success is constructed brick by brick, and discipline is the hand that lays each brick, no matter how heavy it feels at the time. Discipline is not punishment, it is power. It may feel restrictive at first, but in truth, it is the greatest form of freedom. Because once you have disciplined yourself, you are no longer controlled by laziness, distraction, or fear. You control yourself. And a person who has mastered themselves can master anything. If you rely only on desire, you will stop when the road becomes steep. If you rely only on inspiration, you will stall when inspiration disappears. But if you rely on discipline, you keep moving, step by step, until one day you look back and realize the distance you have covered is far greater than you ever imagined. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds results. It is the quiet, steady force that transforms someday into today, and I wish I did. Persistence is the quality that turns failure into wisdom and obstacles into stepping stones. Every person who has ever accomplished anything of significance has faced difficulties that seemed insurmountable at the time. The difference between those who rise and those who remain defeated is not that one had fewer challenges. It is that one refused to give up. Persistence is the stubborn refusal to accept defeat as final, the decision to keep moving forward even when the road ahead looks impossible. Life will test you. There will be setbacks that knock the wind out of you, losses that make you question whether your effort is worth it, and disappointments that tempt you to abandon the dream altogether. In those moments, persistence becomes your greatest ally. When you stand back up after falling, you prove to yourself that failure has no permanent power over you. Each time you refuse to quit, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the next challenge. Persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is intelligent endurance. It learns from mistakes, adapts strategies, and uses adversity as fuel rather than an excuse. A person who persists looks at a closed door and does not walk away defeated. They knock again, they try the handle, they look for a window, and if necessary, they build an entirely new door. Obstacles are not walls to a persistent soul. They are lessons in disguise, designed to sharpen character and deepen resolve. Think of water flowing over stone. At first, the rock seems immovable, yet drop by drop, the water carves a path through it. That is the power of persistence. Even the hardest resistance eventually yields to steady pressure. Every obstacle that stands in your way is temporary, but only if you keep pressing forward. Quit once, and the obstacle wins. Persist, and the obstacle becomes a stepping stone on which you rise higher. Many people stop just short of success because they cannot see how close they are. They turn back when the goal was only one more effort away. But the persistent individual knows that victory often comes right after the greatest struggle. They trust that if they continue to push, the tide will eventually turn in their favor. That trust, that refusal to surrender, is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. To persist is to declare that nothing, not rejection, not delay, not difficulty, has the power to dictate your destiny. With persistence, every setback becomes part of the story that will one day inspire others. It is the unwavering voice that says, "I will not stop until I have reached my goal." And it is this voice that turns obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into triumphs. The mind is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever is planted in it. If you surround yourself with negativity, constant doubt, and voices that tell you it cannot be done, that is exactly what will take root inside you. But if you surround yourself with uplifting influences, with people who believe in possibility, with words and ideas that strengthen your courage, then your mind begins to produce thoughts of power, hope, and determination. Your environment is not neutral. It either pushes you forward or pulls you backward. That is why choosing what you allow into your mind is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. Every person you associate with is either an anchor or a sail. Anchors hold you down, keeping you tied to fear, excuses, and mediocrity. Sails catch the wind of opportunity, lifting you higher and carrying you closer to your destination. If you want to force yourself to achieve your goal, you must examine your surroundings honestly and ask, do the voices around me push me upward, or do they weigh me down? Sometimes, the hardest but most necessary step is to let go of influences that drain your energy and to seek out those that inspire greatness. Positive influence is not only about people, it is also about the material you consume. The books you read, the music you listen to, the conversations you engage in, all of these leave imprints on your thinking. When you choose to feed your mind with stories of resilience, with lessons from those who have succeeded, with affirmations of strength and belief, you are training your subconscious to expect victory. Just as the body becomes strong when fed with nourishing food, the mind becomes powerful when fed with positive influence. You cannot always control every situation you face, but you can control what you consistently allow to shape your thoughts. Surround yourself with mentors who remind you of what is possible, with friends who challenge you to be better, with environments that reflect discipline and ambition. Even if you cannot find such people nearby, you can create that environment by immersing yourself in the works, speeches, and ideas of those who achieved what others thought impossible. In moments of doubt, your surroundings will either echo your fear or reinforce your strength. That is why the company you keep, the habits you form, and the atmosphere you cultivate are not small details. They are the foundation of your determination. A single encouraging word can renew your energy, while a single discouraging voice can poison your will. Guard your mind as carefully as you guard your most valuable treasure, because it truly is. When you surround yourself with positive influence, you are not only protecting your belief, you are multiplying it. You are building an environment where success becomes natural, where persistence feels easier, and where the path toward your goal is illuminated rather than clouded. In such a setting, forcing yourself to act no longer feels like a battle. It becomes the natural rhythm of a life aligned with growth and possibility. Action is the force that breathes life into every dream. You can think endlessly, you can plan with precision, you can imagine success so vividly that you feel it, but none of it matters until you act. The world does not reward intentions, it rewards results, and results come only through action. A person who sits and waits for the perfect moment will wait forever, because there is no perfect moment. The only perfect time to act is now, and the only path to progress is through movement. Action has a power that thought alone cannot match. The instant you take a step, no matter how small, you break the chain of hesitation. You send a signal to your mind that you are serious, that your goal is not just a wish but a command. One action leads to another, and soon momentum is created. Momentum is what carries you forward when motivation runs out. Momentum is what turns effort into habit and habit into achievement. So many people fail not because they lacked intelligence or talent, but because they never acted on what they knew. They waited until conditions were ideal, until they felt ready, until fear disappeared. But fear never disappears by waiting. It disappears by moving. Action dissolves fear because it transforms uncertainty into experience. What once seemed impossible becomes manageable the moment you take the first step toward it. Action is also the great revealer. You cannot know everything from the start. Plans will need adjustment, strategies will need refinement, but you can only discover that by doing. The one who acts learns faster than the one who waits. The one who acts gains strength, skill, and confidence, while the one who delays remains stuck in the prison of hesitation. Even imperfect action is more valuable than perfect inaction. A flawed step forward still moves you closer to your goal, while endless planning without execution leaves you stranded in the same place. Every success story is built on countless small actions, some successful, some mistaken, but together they form the bridge to victory. Action is the master key because it unlocks doors that no amount of wishing could ever open. It invites opportunity, attracts allies, and builds credibility. The world responds to those who move, not to those who wait. Each time you act, you reinforce within yourself the belief that your dream is possible. And each time you hesitate, you weaken that belief. If you are serious about achieving your goal, remind yourself daily thought without action is daydreaming, but thought followed by action is destiny. Let your dreams fuel your decisions. Let your decisions spark your actions, and let your actions carve the path to your success. When you act consistently, persistently, and courageously, there comes a day when the goal that once seemed distant becomes a reality standing before you. My friends, forcing yourself to achieve your goal is not punishment. It is the price of freedom, growth, and lasting victory. You may stumble, you may sweat, you may doubt, but if you refuse to retreat, your goal will one day bow to your persistence. So decide today, no matter the obstacle, no matter the delay, you will command yourself forward until success is no longer optional but inevitable. Thank you.